Under a scorching Yoruba sun, Bayo slowly approached a small compound on the outskirts of Alicia. Tired and hungry, with worn-out clothes sticking to his skin, he paused by the gate. His empty stomach growled louder than his groaning thoughts. He spotted the woman of the house, Funmi, sweeping her porch, her broom moving like a metronome. "Hello, Ma," Bayo said, swallowing his pride along with the dust. "Do you need help with anything? I can clean for food." Funmi stopped and looked at him, her face a mixture of suspicion and something softer. "Who are you?" "I'm just looking for work, Ma. I can do anything, just for a meal," Bayo replied, trying to ignore the shame gnawing at him. She looked over his shoulder at the empty street, then back at him. "All right, clean the porch. When you're done, come inside for some food." Bayo swept the porch carefully, every stroke of the broom a reminder of his fall from grace. Just months ago, he was a supervisor at a local factory, but a series of false accusations had left him jobless, his reputation tarnished beyond repair. As he worked, Funmi watched from the shade, seemingly deep in thought. "What happened to you?" she asked, offering him a cup of water. "It's a long story," Bayo said, taking a grateful sip. "Let's just say not everyone wants to see you succeed." "Ah, I see," Funmi replied, nodding slowly. "People can be full of surprises." With the porch now spotless, Funmi invited Bayo inside to share a meal of rice and stew. Her husband Kunle sat in the living room, eyes flickering with curiosity and skepticism. "Who is this, Funmi?" Kunle asked bluntly. "This is Bayo. He's just helped me with the cleaning," Funmi said, spooning rice onto Bayo's plate. "He was looking for a meal and I thought it wouldn't hurt to help." Kunle eyed Bayo for a long moment. "How did you end up here?" "It's a long story," Bayo repeated, his voice quieter than before. "But I'm just looking for a chance to start over." When Bayo left that day, he left with more than a full stomach. Funmi's kindness lingered with him, buoying his spirit. But as he walked through the narrow paths leading back to nowhere in particular, he knew his troubles were far from over. Days turned into weeks. Every morning he returned to the compound to offer his help, and every afternoon he sat with Funmi and Kunle, who gradually warmed to his presence. But there was something else in the air, a tension that hung between Funmi and Kunle. Their whispers grew sharp like knives when they thought Bayo wasn't listening. One afternoon, as Bayo chopped wood behind the house, he overheard Funmi and Kunle arguing inside. "Are we really going to let some stranger into our lives just like that? What if he brings trouble?" Kunle's voice was tight with worry. "He's not a stranger, Kunle. He's a good man who's fallen on hard times. Can't you see how hard he's working?" Funmi's voice was firm, yet gentle. "People talk, Funmi. They say things about us because of him. I don't want that kind of attention," Kunle insisted. That evening, under the guise of night, Kunle found Bayo sitting alone on the back porch. "Bayo," he started, his voice low but intense. "I appreciate the help, I do. But I'm worried about what people say." "I understand," Bayo replied. "I don't want to cause trouble for you and your family." Kunle sighed heavily, unsure how to balance his growing trust in Bayo against the whispers of the community. The next morning, Bayo stood at the gate, ready to leave. Funmi caught him, her face a mix of concern and resolve. "You're leaving?" "I don't want to cause more issues for your family," Bayo said, avoiding her eyes. "Let people talk," Funmi said softly. "I believe in giving second chances. You deserve one." Bayo nodded, his heart swelling with gratitude. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling that things would not remain peaceful for long. Weeks passed, and Bayo became somewhat of a fixture in the household. Funmi's children, curious at first, soon took to him like an older brother. Still, the rumors didn't die down. They only grew more vicious, twisting into false tales of theft and deceit. Walking through the market one afternoon, Bayo overheard snatches of conversation. "That new man, Bayo, isn't he just after their money?" One market woman gossiped loudly. Back at the compound, Funmi confronted him directly. "Bayo, they're saying things about you. You haven't given me a reason to doubt you, but is there anything I should know?" Bayo paused, the weight of his past bearing down on him. "I've made mistakes," he admitted, "but I would never betray your kindness." Funmi nodded, but doubt lingered in her eyes. One morning, Kunle received a brown envelope at the door. "What is this?" Funmi asked, watching him tear it open. His eyes widened as he pulled out a stack of papers. It's from the bank. They're trying to take the house, he said, voice cracking. How? We paid everything last month, Funmi exclaimed, panic rising. Someone withdrew all the money from our account. It's gone. Accusations flew like arrows that night. Distrust blazed between Kunle's eyes. Bayo, tell me the truth. Did you take the money? Caught off guard, Bayo's heart pounded. No, I would never do such a thing. Kunle wanted to believe him, but the shadows around their circumstances darkened everything. Bayo knew he couldn't stay, not with the storm threatening to tear apart their home. He packed his few belongings under the cover of night, leaving a note on the table. Thank you for everything. I owe you a debt I can never repay. Bayo. By morning, Bayo's absence was like a missing puzzle piece. Where is he? Funmi asked, finding the note. He left, Kunle said quietly, regret pulling at his heart. But what if he wasn't the one? Funmi's hands trembled, the loss of a friend heavy in her chest. In town, Bayo looked for answers. He retraced every step of his past, desperate to clear his name and repay the kindness Funmi extended when no one else would. Days turned into nights, and finally, Bayo's persistence led him to a ragged old acquaintance, a man known for forging signatures and creating trouble. In a dimly lit bar, the truth came out. Armed with this new knowledge and proof of his innocence, Bayo headed back to the compound. The shadows had lifted and the truth shone brightly in his hands. But as he approached the house, he saw a crowd gathered outside. Funmi was on her knees and Kunle stood beside her, an eviction notice clutched in his hand. Wait, I can prove the truth. Bayo's voice pierced through the thick tension. The crowd's chatter quietened, all eyes now on him. Bayo took a deep breath and stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. Kunle's eyes narrowed, suspicion mingled with a glimmer of hope. What are you talking about, Bayo? He demanded, his voice laced with desperation. The money wasn't taken by me. It was withdrawn fraudulently by someone I know, a man who's been causing trouble for years. Bayo unfolded the papers he held, revealing signed confessions and evidence gathered from his recent encounter. I have proof here. Please, look. Funmi took the papers, her hands shaking as she scanned the contents. Kunle joined her, his expression shifting from doubt to realization. The crowd murmured, some inching closer, curious to see the truth unravel. This changes everything, Funmi breathed, tears brimming in her eyes. Bayo, why did you come back? Because you believed in me when no one else did, Bayo replied, his voice firm. I could never repay your kindness, but at least I can help you now. Kunle looked at Bayo, the anger and frustration that had clouded his judgment beginning to dissipate. I'm sorry, he said, his voice choked. We should have trusted you. Bayo shook his head. I understand. It was a tough situation. Anyone would have reacted the same. As the crowd slowly dispersed, Funmi turned to Bayo, a hesitant smile playing on her lips. The bank can be stopped, right? Yes, Bayo affirmed. With this evidence, they won't pursue the matter further. With the immediate threat averted, the atmosphere in the family home was still heavy, but it had shifted. Over a shared meal, they spoke about the future, of mending broken trust. Kunle and Funmi expressed genuine regret, and Bayo listened, understanding the weight of their feelings. But amid the repairing of relationships, Bayo's mind was restless. He had returned to clear his name, but he felt a pull deeper than the satisfaction of revenge. Something was calling him. The night was calm as Bayo sat alone in the backyard, the cool breeze brushing against his skin. He stared at the stars, their constant glow offering a strange solace. What do I do now, God? He murmured, his voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. His thoughts drifted to a time when his grandmother used to read to him from her well-worn Bible, her voice gentle yet firm with wisdom. He could still remember her favorite verse, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord." The next morning, as the sun spilled golden light over the compound, an elderly pastor from the local church paid a visit. Pastor Aide had heard about the commotion and came to offer counsel. His presence was calming, his demeanor patient. Bayo, Funmi, Kunle, he began, sitting with them in the living room. I've seen how rumors and misunderstandings can tear people apart, but I've also seen how forgiveness heals. Revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, Pastor Ed continued. True peace comes when we let go of the past and allow God's grace to fill the gaps we cannot. Bayo felt a shift in his heart, the bitterness that had driven him now paling in the light of understanding. He realized it wasn't enough just to clear his name. He needed to forgive those who had wronged him, truly and deeply. Later, Funmi approached Bayo with a soft smile. Your grandmother would be proud of who you've become, she said, her eyes shining with compassion. Thank you for coming back. Bayo nodded, emotion thick in his throat. Without your kindness, I would have been lost. I want to stay and help more if you'll allow me. Kunle, joining them, placed a hand on Bayo's shoulder. We'd be grateful to have you here. You're part of this family now. As days turned to weeks, Bayo stayed with the family, helping rebuild not just their lives but his own. He became an integral part of their community, the shadow of doubt replaced by the warmth of acceptance. He found himself drawn to the teachings of Christ more deeply, attending church with Funmi and Kunle. Prayer and scripture became parts of his daily routine, guiding him from within and shaping his newfound peace. The Sunday service brimmed with vibrancy as Pastor Ade spoke about redemption and love. Bayo sat with the family, his heart lighter than it had been in years. During the final hymn, he felt an overwhelming sense of clarity wash over him. A new path, he whispered to himself, a smile tugging at his lips. After the service, Bayo and the family gathered with friends, celebrating not just their victory over adversity, but the bond they had forged and the lessons they had learned. Funmi's children laughed around them, unaware of the past's shadows that had loomed over their world. Bayo took a moment to step outside. The sun was shining, its warmth a comforting presence. Pastor Ade joined him, his wise eyes searching Bayo's face. You've walked a hard road, Pastor Ade said. And I'm still walking, Bayo replied, gratitude softening his words. But it's different now. I've learned that carrying anger and hurt only weighs you down. Forgiveness, though hard, sets you free. Pastor Ade smiled, nodding slowly before laying a hand on Bayo's shoulder. It's not an easy journey, Bayo, but it's worth it. Remember, God's plans are always unfolding. Trust him. As Bayo returned to the gathering, Funmi caught his eye, her expression one of warmth and eternal gratitude. Bayo, you came to us a stranger, she said, voice thick with emotion. But now, you're like family. Bayo smiled, his heart full. And a family I'm blessed to have found, he replied, feeling the truth of his words resonate deep within. As they laughed and talked into the evening, the memory of his grandmother's favorite verse echoed gently in his mind, a guiding light for his days ahead. Indeed, God's plans were still unfolding, and Bayo knew he had finally found his place among them.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.